what's coming with it.
I'm not going to stop the wheel. I'm going to break the wheel.
Game of Thrones, season premiere Sunday, April.
Then you missed an entertaining half. France taking the lead through Rafael Varane. That goal offset by Oscar for Brazil. Oscar, one of the players of the half. It's going to be interesting to see what the two coaches, Messrs Deschamps and Dunga, do in the substitution department. Casey, you've thoroughly enjoyed it so far.
Yeah, very much so. I think, as usual, you expect Brazil to lead in the category of possession. I think they used that possession well. They created chances from it. I think France did a great job of getting out on the counterattack, winning set pieces, looking very dangerous off of those set pieces, getting the one goal that they got from one of those opportunities. And so I would expect a little bit of the same. I think maybe France would like to get a little bit more possession as this half continues and create chances out of it. And at the same time, I think both teams have the right attitude in these kind of friendly situations that you love to see. Get forward in the attack, get numbers, and make it exciting.
You heard Adrian Healy and the panelists in the studio talking about the facts and figures. Another quick look at what happened in the first 45. Brazil ahead in most of the statistical categories.
Well, and I think what you saw was France on the counterattack, winning set pieces, winning corners, and making that count. And Brazil doing what they do the best is knocking the ball around and creating chances out of 1-2 touch opportunities around the 18.
Oscar scoring his 12th international goal earlier. Last goal came in the 7-1 defeat at the hands of Germany in Belo Horizonte. The Minerazo, as they call it. Reference, of course, there to the Maracanazo against Uruguay in 1950. The decisive game of that World Cup. Nicola Rizzoli just getting everyone reorganised with the second half in mind. Well, let's hope it continues in the same vein. It was up-tempo stuff in the first half at the Stade de France, with both sides going for it. And it's France attacking the goal to our left. Rafael Varane. His header beating Jefferson comprehensively. Oscar able to reply for the Seleção.
And no changes made coming in ahead, and that's always nice to see. Managers wanting to keep that same attitude going that they saw in the first half by not making a ton of changes. Sometimes that can be difficult in these friendlies where you just see an array of substitutions, which then really take the sting out of the match, and both managers like what they see and are keeping the same players on the field.
Forward by Miranda. It's amazing it's taken this long for the two of them, Miranda and Thiago Silva, to appear together from the start. With Brazil, here's Benzema. Now Griezmann. Matuidi had arrived on the scene. Very often times his runs to perfection, Blaise Matuidi. Evra. Really a surprise that Evra has been the hit. He ended up being with Juventus. I say that because I don't think too many of us expected he would see a lot of game time. Injuries to Quadro Asamoah, Martin Cáceres. Meant that he has played a lot. Sissoko trying to bustle through and clipped.
And I think if that wasn't a friendly, we would have seen a yellow card, but referees in these situations sometimes just keep the card in their pocket. No real reason to pull it out. But Sissoko having a good season for Newcastle, been so accustomed to seeing those types of runs out of midfield.
Jose Elias doing the breaking up for Brazil. Antoine Griezmann and Mathieu Valbuena just talking it over. Griezmann, who hasn't scored in his last 5 matches for his club side, Atletico Madrid. Checked in by Valbuena. Easy enough catch for Jefferson.
Sometimes that straight service into the box can be tricky for a goalkeeper trying to get a read. But in the end, no real French players anywhere near, and it was comfortable.
Valbuena has it again. Magnetic player to watch. Griezmann. I think the surname sounds a bit German. He does hail from Alsace. His roots in Alsace, by the German border. I think we are going to see quite a few substitutions in due course. Goes with the territory in a friendly. It drops for Valbuena. And Benzema, not in pursuit of it. Jefferson, piece of acrobatics.
Yeah, it was well read from Jefferson. It was difficult for Benzema. The ball's just a little bit behind him. He can't get a read on to really challenge. Jefferson does a good job of coming out, cleaning things up for his defense.
Griezmann once again purposeful, and Benzema trying to get into a stride. He very nearly did, and the challenge came in. Danilo had shifted across from right back.
Yeah, Danilo had to get his timing exactly right, in which he did. And now Brazil able to get possession once again back in midfield and try to create something. It has to be said, France have had the better of the start in this second half.
Danilo's pass. Evra. Danilo and Evra, two players still involved in the UEFA Champions League knockout stages with their respective clubs, Porto and Juventus. Willian thought about taking it. Danilo does the honours, however. Nearly 5 minutes into the second half, 1 goal apiece. And Sacco getting caught, but then another slip. It was Oscar this time. Luiz Gustavo gave it a thump. And away by Mondonda. Valbuena tried to get the pistons pumping. It was Miranda who cleaned up for Brazil. Quick fire stuff.
Well, we have seen lots of slips, but Mandanda making another good save. But I think once again, without having that out-and-out striker, he's able to parry that ball back into a little bit of a dangerous area, but no Brazilian players anywhere near to try to clean up the rebound. But it really was Brazil getting themselves in all kinds of trouble. It's a good shot from distance. It's a good save. But fortunately enough, for Mandanda, it goes straight to Sagna, who's able to clear the danger.
Just got the feeling the playing surface is not properly knitted together.
Well, it's a little bit surprising that players haven't changed their footwear at halftime, knowing how much they slipped in the first half.
Yes, it wasn't just once either. Saw it on several occasions. What are the French going to do? Are they going to introduce some of the younger players, some of the up-and-comers, likes of Nabil Fekir, Olympique Lyonnais?
I would assume around that 60th minute we're going to see a lot of changes. So often managers just like to have a player kind of start in that second half, get that good hour, and then make the changes in that final half an hour.
It would be a delight to see Alexandre Lacazette, maybe in place of Benzema if he doesn't go the distance. Lacazette, the top scorer in Ligue 1 this season. Another member of the Olympique Lyonnais team. 23 goals to his name in the French top flight. Lacazette. Dunga translates into English as dopey. And apparently it was an uncle of his who bestowed that nickname upon him many years ago. I don't think anyone who played against him or has watched him manage would ever accuse him of actually being dopey.
It's always interesting what youth nicknames carry on to adulthood.
There's Willian stroking it through. Quickly bowled out by Mondonda. Evra. Griezmann. Matuidi, latest player to stumble. Schneiderlin. He's done the simple things very well, very efficiently. Tactically astute player, Morgan Schneiderlin. Sissoko steering it back to Sacco. And here again is the evergreen Evra. Matuidi. Brazil saw more of the ball than did the French in the first half. France making their set piece count, one of them anyway. A header from Varane, following on from the Valbuena corner. He was meticulous in his approach, Didier Deschamps. Guided Marseille to the 2010 title. Took over the national team reins after Euro 2012. France gearing up for hosting the 2016 competition. And Willian, he tried to move away from Sacco. Just got a piece of the ball, Mamadou Sacco. Willian again. Danilo. Elias. Oscar. So many natural ball players in this Brazilian team. Elias. Done a similar job for Brazil to the one carried out by Schneiderlin for France.
I think sometimes where that possession stat can get a little bit misleading is France more than happy to let Brazil pass the ball around in their own half. It's these situations that Brazil...
Oh, Danilo tried to fire it across. Here's Matuidi sweeping up as the French try to get something going.
But in the first half, France would have continued that attack. But here, Brazil stepping up and creating opportunities off their own counterattack.
Well, Schneiderlin had to drop back. Sacco doing the covering just in front of him. Willian through the legs of Evra. Schneiderlin, corner.
But that's better for Brazil, getting numbers into support. Good run. Elias once again showing what a box-to-box player he is, getting into the attack. And on that opportunity, Sacco with the clearance just previously.
Willian entrusted with the task of taking this Brazilian corner, trying to swing it away. Oh, and Thiago Silva reaching out, wanted to make contact with the ball.
A good service into the area. You do a great job of keeping things alive. Good challenge and almost falling to Thiago Silva. Outstretched boot, just couldn't direct it.
Firmino up against Schneiderlin in the air. And then Thiago Silva in search of what would have been his fourth international goal. Willian trying to make his move. It's a cheer from Neymar. Absolute perfection. The angle looked impossible. Even the French supporters will be applauding that. Neymar, a true talent. Out of this world.
Well, Brazil do a great job once again of just putting pressure on midfield and winning it. Willian does a great job of riding the challenge from Evra, and then a good run inside. And I thought at the first time that Neymar was going to hit it first time, and maybe he, by taking this touch, the angle was too difficult. But when you absolutely smash it into the roof of the net, doesn't give the goalkeeper a whole lot of chance. And Neymar just showing that sometimes it's not about doing it a particular way, it's doing it his way, and he's so successful at what he does, coming in off that left-hand side and giving Brazil the lead.
Well, that's what the hype is all about, ladies and gentlemen. Only 23, already the captain. He is the permanent captain of this Brazil team. The man Dunga wants to shoulder the responsibility. And the Seleção leading for the first time in this contest. Special goal from Neymar. He does have the capacity to make finishing look ridiculously simple. That wasn't simple.
No, it wasn't simple, and I was just surprised. I really thought he was just going to hit it first time, maybe just open up his hips, try to curl it into the far post, but he took that touch to a more difficult angle. You knew it had to be something special to beat Mandanda, and it certainly was.
Well, let's see if the French can answer back now. Valbuena, they're all queuing up. Oh, and Varane arriving on the scene again, right beside Sacco.
It looks so dangerous, the French, on these set pieces, or Brazil are just not looking that good defending. And it was Thiago Silva with the touch, just putting it wide to concede another corner.
Valbuena. Jefferson punch happy. Griezmann. Benzema. Sacco has taken up the centre forward position for now. Oh, and Sacco had stayed there. Sissoko tried to place it. Jefferson didn't give him very much to aim at. It's raging from one end to the other. Superb spectacle this at the Stade de France. Away goes Evra. Here's Valbuena. Trying to get it to tip. Oh, Benzema. Spectacular miss.
Benzema really should have equalized. Good idea. Sacco just blocking. Just looks like he was just blocking Felipe Luiz at the far post, and it would have been a spectacular volley from Benzema, but this is the early chance. Sissoko just a little bit too strong of a touch, giving Jefferson the opportunity to come out and smother. Good defending, good goalkeeping, but France really should have equalized.
Well, they were knocking on the door. Benzema, who often underwhelms, wearing the colours of the national team.
He's had two outstanding chances, one very early on. Jefferson makes a big save, and then on that occasion where really you just have to say, get it on target and miss the goalkeeper, and you would have had the equalizer.
Header by Sanya, all the way through to Jefferson. It's 25 goals in 77 previous internationals for Karim Benzema. Club form usually means he has to be picked for France, although he's been getting a bit of stick recently from the Real Madrid supporters. He's not the only one, though. So they go through a difficult stretch. And Brazil trying to get into a high position again. As Willian was hit by Elias. Sacco was spread-eagled. Here's Valbuena. Benzema was going hell for leather in pursuit of it. Thiago Silva did enough to play it back to Jefferson.
Yeah, Thiago Silva is such a stabling factor for Brazil defensively. So important, the player that they missed dearly in that 7-1 defeat to Germany.
Thiago Silva on the receiving end. ESPN2 is your home for a couple of key European Championship qualifiers this week. Tomorrow at 3:30, Spain host Ukraine in Group C. Action from Seville. Sunday at 2:30, Cristiano Ronaldo and Portugal take on Serbia in Group I. That game going ahead in Lisbon. Both matches also live on the Watch ESPN app. Very much hope to have the pleasure of your company tomorrow and again on Sunday. Looking forward to bringing you both games. Here's Benzema. Sissoko. Almost betwixt and between Felipe Luiz. Wasn't quite sure whether to commit. And it's Thiago Silva away.
I think it's been a fantastic response from France after going that goal behind. They've had 2 or 3 decent opportunities to equalize.
Miranda and Jefferson in the nick of time. Not sure if he was of a mind to say thanks to Miranda or not. Griezmann, and he has a go. A whisker away. Griezmann.
It's a great strike from distance. Jefferson has to be on his toes a little bit. Sometimes you can catch a goalkeeper just a little bit unawares because he's not sure. I'm not quite sure if the ball was going to go on target off the post or what.
Valbuena with the corner. I'm going to give Jefferson credit for the fingertip intervention, whether it was going in or not.
Well, Jefferson didn't know. He had his safety first. It was another good save. Jefferson has had a good account for himself.
Well, it's been stirring stuff, and let's face it, it's not something that we often say when taking in a friendly. This has been a friendly with a difference. 2 teams with the right attitude. Motivation, of course, as far as Brazil are concerned, irrespective of what some of the players said before a ball was kicked. 1998 did hurt, and so many of these wearing the yellow shirt were youngsters at the time. They remember the sadness in their households in 98.
Yeah, but 2014 hurt a lot worse, and that's in the more recent memory, and a lot of these players understand kind of where their standing is right now in the psyche of the Brazilian fan, and they want to put that right. And so far, they're 6 for 6 in doing that.
Felipe Luiz, and it comes off Patrice Evra. Julian was lurking with the presence of mind to keep it in play. Danilo. Still no substitutions. That's heartening as well. Almost 65 minutes into a friendly. Felipe Luiz. Oscar just steadying himself. Luis Gustavo. Too strong for Roberto Firmino, who's waiting inside the box.
Yeah, I think Miranda supporting from behind, but I really feel that France did a great job stepping up tight. Varane, Sacco getting Firmino offside, and the touch was always going back to Mandanda.
Schneiderlin's pass. Bakary Sagna. His first season with Manchester City. Signed a 3-year deal after his Arsenal contract had expired. Griezmann, chiseled ball to Evra. Willian has become the extra defender for Brazil. Matuidi. Thiago Silva doing the appealing.
They're just doing a great job of stepping out of that central role when needed. Good challenge on the ball, gets the benefit of the last touch coming off of Evra.
30 years of age now, Thiago Silva. Miranda's of a similar vintage. It's remarkable it's taken Brazil so long to field them as a pair. This was Griezmann's effort, eyeing that top corner.
It was an excellent strike and a very good save. That angle showing that it might have probably come off the post, but Jefferson making once again a nice save.
Patrice Evra will try again. Well, it was cumbersome by Sissoko. Play continues. Matuidi did well enough. Benzema's pass. Sagna. Valbuena was never going to be favourite in the air. The little man jumping up for the ball. Here he is, though. Can do untold damage, Mathieu Valbuena. Sissoko, artistic stuff from him. Evra back in there. And it comes to Griezmann. Sagna. Faced by Miranda. Joao Miranda takes charge. As Brazil look for a bit of respite. Now space afforded Willian. Did France overcommit? Willian with a switch of play. Neymar. Trying to create the angle, trying to do a bit of burrowing. And Mandanda had to be absolutely sure. Just reaching to his left. Oscar trying to get involved in the attacking side of things.
Well, so often Neymar can bring such a presence of players around him that when he then is able to find an open Oscar, trying to curl it into that left-hand corner of Mandanda, who comes up with a good save once again. Both goalkeepers have been busy today. They've both come up well. They've made big saves, or we could have really been looking at a 4-3 match.
Well, there's still time, Casey. Corner taken by Willian, and it's another one. Luiz Gustavo joins in the fun for Brazil. He wasn't picked up. There was hesitancy from the French, and with a 2-goal cushion, it's difficult to see past the Seleção.
Well, we were talking so much of how France looked dangerous on set pieces. Brazil just picking it up in this second half. It's so open. Just a little bit of a screenplay. And just a bunch of French defenders standing around watching. Luiz Gustavo just probably can't believe he's that wide open, but a fantastic header down into the ground, skipping it off into the side netting. Mandanda with no opportunity, and Didier Deschamps not happy with his defense to allow Luiz Gustavo to be that wide open off of that corner.
Yes, from the French point of view, it's a disappointing one to have conceded. Not that Luiz Gustavo is particularly worried about that. Only his second international goal. His first since September 2013, when he netted against Australia. Thierry Henry can't have been impressed. Thierry Henry, who's settled into a new media career. The play's going to continue here. Was there a foul further back? It's Willian who takes it on, and Mandanda fully stretched.
Mandanda making another good save, but Willian just, it's too easy for him to come out of the midfield role without his pace. Mandanda not happy with really his players closer to the Brazilians as they come out of midfield. Sacco needs to be more aware.
Miranda's up inside the 6-yard box. It will be Willian to take the corner. Strong header away by Sacco. Well, a very useful test this for both sides. France want to be battle-hardened. It's always a difficulty, isn't it, of being host of a major tournament. Yes, you want to be there automatically. You want to play games on home soil, but you go through that 2-year period without a competitive game. It's difficult for teams sometimes, and because you are, as a manager, always kind of mixing and matching, because you know the games don't necessarily matter, but at the same time, Deschamps is going to want to have a pretty stable team come the summer, and I think he's, for the most part, would be very happy with what he's seeing today, but he has to realize that it is difficult for center backs trying to pick up those runs out of midfield when they don't have somebody up against them. But it's a good learning curve for France, and a reason why they want to have these kind of matches at home. Evra. Sissoko trying to hold it up for Patrice Evra. Felipe Luis. His first season with Chelsea. Spent most of his club career in Spanish football. Deportivo La Coruña and Atletico Madrid. Danilo. Brazil on course to make it 7 wins out of 7 under Dunga in this spell in charge. Felipe Luiz, and up goes Steve Mondonda. It's in his 8th season with Marseille, former Le Havre goalkeeper. And now we're going to have a substitution. Nabil Fekir will get his chance to shine. Just made the decision recently to declare for France. Was flirting with Algeria. Qualified for them as well. One of the young players to have taken Liga by storm this season. 11 goals in the top flight of French football. So the Olympic Lyonnais youngster will get a taste of the international limelight. Geoffrey Kondogbia to come on as well. Monaco midfield man. And that will be all for Sissoko. So one midfield player for another. Kondogbia, previously with Lens and Sevilla before the move to Monaco. And Nabil Fekir will take the place of Antoine Griezmann. Well, there's a lot to like about Fekir.
Well, and he's going to want to obviously come into his first match for France declaring and try to get the crowd behind him. He's going to want to get his manager behind him, let him know that they made the right decision, that he made the right decision.
Abra just releasing it. Here is Fekir. What a play it has gone, in the opinion of Nicola Rizzoli. Abra with the throw. And down has gone Fekir. The concession of a free kick.
Elias just letting him know that he's in for a match. France needs something, and they need something quick to get back into this game. They have looked dangerous on set pieces. This is a great opportunity.
Valbuena pondering. Delivery needs to be spot on from Valbuena. Wasn't quite right for Varane, and Valbuena knows it.
He does. His service has been excellent throughout the match, and he just got a little bit of a, there's a little bit of a replay of Neymar's goal, and there's that touch, and there's just raising it up. It's so difficult for a goalkeeper in those kind of situations, but then that is just too easy. Luiz Gustavo just wide open, and it's a simple finish.
I'm sure Ronaldo will be in a good mood after this. Not sure about Zinedine Zidane. Zidane, who very much put one over Ronaldo and company back in 1998. The World Cup final here. Let us take this opportunity to tell you that MLS Soccer Sunday on ESPN, presented by Audi, returns at 4:45 on ESPN2 this weekend, when the Chicago Fire host the Philadelphia Union from Toyota Park. That's also live on the Watch ESPN app. MLS season well and truly underway. (3-1) to Brazil. This prestigious international friendly. Thiago Silva. Are there many better central defenders in world football than Thiago Silva? Can't think of many.
He looks pretty solid. He just, PSG made a big commitment towards him, and he just continues to get better and better, I think, in the eyes of so many international pundits. And he once again has shown today.
Now, watch and, I was going to say, enjoy. Neymar, not quite the finish he had designed in his mind. It looked fruitful, didn't it?
Well, he makes this good hard run, and he loves coming in onto that right foot. And as you can see, the ball just takes that little bit of a hop, and he just can't get it down under control.
Neymar again. Felipe Luiz. He's confronted by Kondogbia. Fekir. Valbuena. Hitting the ground hard.
I think Brazil have done a good job of, particularly in the second half, kind of just breaking up those counterattacks that France showed so well in the first half. Just maybe it's a little bit of a foul, little getting numbers back. And as France tried to commit more numbers in possession, then it was Brazil's chance to get out on the counterattack and cause damage.
Thiago Silva from the back. Willian helping the ball on its way to Neymar. Not a believer in keeping a fixed position, Neymar. Well, Sanya has to do the defending. And Kondogbia just getting in the way. Felipe Luiz for Brazil. It all started for the Brazilians in the second stint for Dunga as coach in Miami on the 5th of September. 1-0 win over Colombia, settled by a free kick goal from, you've guessed it, Neymar. No, Danilo, touch of style there. Neymar almost in. Schneiderlin patrolling that sector of the pitch for Les Bleus. Sanya. Schneiderlin. Kondogbia for Matuidi. Valbuena. He's always a marked man.
I was going to say, Valbuena's probably hit the deck more often than any player in tonight's match. It hasn't been, that kind of game where players are necessarily getting kicked. You wouldn't expect that in a friendly, but Valbuena, and maybe it's his size or his commitment, but he seemed to be fouled more than most.
Evra, low ball, comes to Valbuena. Kondogbia. Once again, Valbuena was showing for it. Benzema trying to direct the traffic. Thiago Silva. Goes Matuidi. That's going to be Jefferson's ball.
Good job from Miranda, just shielding the ball from any French player coming in to his goalkeeper. But once again, Thiago Silva just being in the right place at the right time.
Dimitri Payet is going to be given a run. Exciting Marseille playmaker. Bakary Sagna. Kondogbia. His technical qualities coming to the fore. And the shrill whistle of Nicola Rizzoli. Tall but has a deft touch. Jeffrey Kondogbia.
Nice little turn away from pressure from Oscar and keeping things going, but looks like Valbuena has been through a little bit of the wars today. Giving way.
That's the end of the story for Le Petit Velo, the little bicycle. Meanwhile, Dimitri Payet has his cycle clips on. The last 8.5 minutes of this game. Payet, a player who France must try to get involved. He's the leader in Liga in terms of assists.
France are going to need something to get back into this game. Brazil are getting themselves into a good defensive posture and just now happy to get out on the counterattack and create something if it's available. But I'm sure Dunga is trying to really emphasize an ideology of, yes, I'm going to give you that freedom to move around, but let's understand that the time of the match, where we are, and then let's have that discipline to make sure we can see games out.
Tall order here for France. He took the lead thanks to Rafael Varane. 3 Brazilian goals without reply since. Here's Payet. Oh, and Miranda with a mistake. Matuidi couldn't quite snap onto it. Thiago Silva making sure of that.
Yeah, difficult for Miranda. It kind of came at an awkward angle. Thiago Silva kind of let it go. Miranda, I think, saw it late. But in the
It's
end,
going to be Olivier Giroud time. There'll be a change for Brazil as well. Douglas Costa coming on. Williams' shift is over for the evening. So Douglas Costa, 24-year-old, plays for Shakhtar Donetsk in Ukraine. Well, the French for it, Schneiderlin. Once again, Dimitri Payet. Schneiderlin. Danilo, in his body language, just trying to make it clear to the referee that there was no involvement on his part.
there's a little bit of contact. Schneiderlin goes down. You could see that maybe you would win a free kick at a different day, but the referee's done a pretty consistent job throughout the match.
Well, a golden moment from Neymar earlier. His strike for Brazil, sandwiched in between the goals from Oscar and Luiz Gustavo. It was 3-0 to Brazil when last they faced the French in 2013 in Porto Alegre in Brazil. 3-1 with a little bit more than 5 minutes to go. Sousa has been readying himself for potential action. Payet, Fekir, trying to bamboozle Felipe Luiz. And Fekir looks over towards officialdom.
Yeah, just a trailing leg. Felipe Luiz realizes he's been beat, just left that left leg dangling. Fekir's brought down.
So off is going Oscar. Scorer of the equaliser earlier. Sousa will come on at this juncture.
Another good outing for Oscar. Finding that good balance between midfield, getting up into the attack, supporting, following his run, getting the benefit off of the good pass from Firmino, and getting the equalizing goal.
Sousa of FC Sao Paulo. Only his second international appearance. Just got the feeling, didn't you, when the third goal went in, the Luiz Gustavo goal, that was pretty much curtains for France.
And France has tried to get back into the match, but give Brazil credit. They've got a level of discipline under Dunga, where we saw that free moving.
Kondogbia dwarfs just about every opponent. Luiz Gustavo was pretty tall himself. Kondogbia, well, he fancied his chances, didn't he? Quite clearly.
But you're not seeing the number of Brazilian players getting forward now when they win possession. It's more discipline getting themselves into positions.
Here's Benzema with the pass. Nabil Fekir trying to create room for himself. Well, he's an exciting young prospect. Remember the name.
That would have been a great account if he would have been able to get this goal early on. Benzema does a good job of bringing him into play. Cuts inside off the right foot. Sees a little bit of space. Lets it fly. It's a good effort. Doesn't miss Jefferson's right-hand post by much.
Miranda labouring just a bit.
Luiz Gustavo.
Luis Adriano about to come on. A bit of confusion as to who ought to depart the scene. Roberto Firmino thinking his number might be up. Is that really the case? No. Come on, fellas, sort it out. Chaos reigned for a few seconds. Firmino has made his way off. Luiz had been readying himself for action. Giroud. Here's Kondogbia. Certainly very keen to catch the eye of Didier Deschamps based on his few minutes on the pitch.
Kondogbia has really put himself about and trying to get France back into the match, as you would expect a substitute to do, to try to change the fortunes of a team. There's a good job from Danilo just to get in between Patrice Evra and the ball, and Evra showing a little bit of frustration and bringing down the Brazilian defender.
Well, this is going to be a greatly treasured Brazilian victory. Marcelo will be the latest substitute to be deployed by Dunga. Fernandinho's going to make a cameo appearance as well. Luis Adriano. It's broken up by Giroud for France. In the 90th minute in Saint-Denis. That will be all for Luiz Gustavo, replaced by Fernandinho. Scorer of the third Brazilian goal. In comes Fernandinho of Manchester City, 8 years at Shakhtar Donetsk in Ukraine prior to that move. And if he's lucky, there'll be time for Marcelo as well. We're going to have a minimum of 4 added minutes, so Marcelo guaranteed to take part.
Well, it was nice to see Brazil not making widespread changes along with France early on in the match. A rough challenge from Thiago Silva on Benzema. No real chance of winning the ball, just making sure that Benzema didn't as well.
There's Benzema. Payet. Giving it back to Karim Benzema. As he topples over, somewhat spectacularly. Evra. And added time at the end of the game. And credit must go to both sets of players, as they have put on a show. No going through the motions in this friendly.
No, it's been very competitive, but also without the kind of challenges that you would expect to see in friendlies. Nothing really rash, but at the same time, treating the match the way it deserved to be treated.
Elias will make way for Marcelo. Was adamant talking to the press this week, Marcelo, that he wasn't going to dwell on Real Madrid's Clásico defeat at the hands of Barcelona. Said, I'm here to play for Brazil. That's it. If you want to talk about the Seleção, fine. Real Madrid chatter can wait until after the internationals.
It's probably nice to get out of Spain for a little bit. Anytime you lose to the big enemy, it's always nice to maybe get a fresh perspective.
Brazil from here will be heading to London, take on Chile on Sunday at Arsenal's ground at the Emirates. Well, the referee is looking on from a few yards away. The arm raised. Fernandinho is battling it out. Benzema on the ground as well, hobbling on.
Well, I've been impressed with Brazil when they scored the third goal and they took took that 2-goal lead, that they've definitely done a very disciplined defensive job in making it hard for France to get back into the match, and no real clear-cut goal-scoring chances once they got that 2-goal cushion. And I think that's something that Dunga is going to be very pleased to see, is that yes, you can see the attacking ability that Brazil has, but can they have that discipline defensively and make sure that when they have taken the lead that they don't concede silly goals and let teams back in the match.
Here's Kondogbia. Takes off. Sanya had no realistic chance of getting to it.
And then I think on the other side, Deschamps will be disappointed with the chances that they did create. Benzema with 2 really good opportunities. A few other saves that Jefferson had to make, that France had opportunities. Griezmann from distance, but and this has been a little bit of a criticism of this French team, that they haven't been able to consistently put the ball in the back of the net, and they had opportunities to do so today, to score more than just the 1 goal that they did off of the set piece.
They've almost had the 4 added minutes. Well, friendlies are often criticised as not being especially watchable. This has been a terrific watch. And Brazil, worthy winners. They conceded the first goal tonight, scored by Rafael Varane for France. But Oscar, Neymar with a beauty, and Luiz Gustavo on target for the Seleção. The final score, France 1, Brazil 3. We'll be back to wrap things up.
If you can rock in a chair, Ab Rocket Twister can launch you those unwanted love handles. When you call in the next 6 minutes, you'll receive the all-new Ab Rocket Twister in your home, risk-free, for 6 payments of just $19.95. You'll get the new Ab Rocket Twister, 3 levels of resistance bands, the Rockin' Fat Blastin' DVD set, meal plan, and cardio dance party.
That's the Ab Rocket Twister right there.
And we're going to take off 1 whole payment, so the entire Ab Rocket Twister system can be yours for only 5 payments of just $19.95. Call or click right now, and we'll deliver the complete Ab Rocket Twister system, plus bonuses, for free. That's right, free shipping. This is the Ab Rocket Twister's best offer ever, and is only available for an extremely limited time. You won't find this deal in any stores, so call the number on your screen right now.
To order, call 1-800-214-3517. Call now.
At the Stade de France, France against Brazil, a rematch of the 1998 World Cup final. At this same venue, France striking first, the header from Rafael Varane.
It was just too easy early on. Set pieces were a trouble for Brazil. Varane rising high, and an excellent finish into the far post, leaving Jefferson with no chance.
Perfect delivery from Mathieu Valbuena, and Varane did the rest. But Brazil had certainly contributed mightily to the first half events, and Oscar making his run, receiving it from Roberto Firmino. 1-1.
Well, Oscar does an excellent job of finding Firmino inside, following his run into a dangerous position. Firmino does great of holding off the challenges, and a good pass.
Then at this moment, Neymar's moment. Did he have the angle? You bet he did.
Yeah, I was really surprised, Derek, at the beginning that he took that touch and kind of gave himself a worse angle. There's the touch that just kind of took him into an angle where you thought it was going to be in the favor of Mandanda, but that kind of finish makes it so difficult. Goalkeeper has to be wary of a shot coming low at the ankles.
So that was 2-1. This was 3-1. Luiz Gustavo with a header, and the French defenders won't be happy looking back at that.
Luiz Gustavo, just way too much space in a dangerous area. It was a mix-up of players in the middle, and Luiz Gustavo just taking advantage. Heads the ball down nice and low into the side netting. 3-1 Brazil.
You can't really say that Brazil didn't deserve it over the piece. 3-1, the final score. 7 wins out of 7 for the Seleção now, under Dunga in his second spell in charge. But the fans have truly been entertained this evening. Coming up next, it's Baseball Tonight. On behalf of Casey Keller, this is Derek Ray. Hope very much that you've enjoyed it. Thanks for being with us. This has been a presentation of ESPN. The final score from the Stade de France reads France 1, Brazil 3. Until next time, from the pair of us, goodbye.
It's just deep, you know what I mean? Like, it could be a lot worse. A little plastic surgery never hurt anyone.